What's going on, guys? It's Jake here, bringing you guys an Amazing Spider-Man 2 trailer breakdown. Alright, so let's get into it. In the beginning, we have Spidey free-falling down and swinging away. That's the first showing of Spider-Man in the movie, as said by Mark Webb, so that's pretty interesting. Right here, we have Peter, who's just looking over New York, and he looks kind of upset or depressed. I think this is probably going to happen after a big game changer in the movie. So yeah, let's move on. Alright, now Spidey's grabbing this car. What this is probably going to take place between the first battle between Spidey and Electro. Once Electro gets his powers, they have a fight in Times Square, and Electro's probably going to end up hurling this police car, and Spidey's going to grab it right there, as you can see, so let's carry on. Alright, now here's Peter sitting at the cemetery, and obviously he's probably checking onto his Uncle Ben's grave, either probably after another important part in the movie, or he's just reviewing the promise of with great power comes great responsibility, what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man. So let's move on. Alright, there we have Rhino. Rhino looks wicked awesome in this movie. His suit is all teched out, much like in the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, and it closes down over his face. So there's not much to say, but Rhino looks pretty sweet. He has other things on his suit too, and it appears he's going to be wicked cool in this movie. I think he looks awesome, so there's Rhino's suit. But right there, let me go back a minute, you have an eye. Now this appears to be Harry Osborn's eye, probably after he becomes a Green Goblin. As you can see here, he has an earpiece, and this earpiece he wears while he's the Green Goblin, so I'm guessing maybe at this point he even is the Green Goblin, and that's just, you know, Harry Osborn is Green Goblin in this movie before anything with Norman becoming the Goblin comes up. So let's move on. Now here is Harry again with his back turned to the camera, and you can see right here there's a lot of stuff showing, so I'm guessing this is probably a prototype for the Goblin suit. I'm not gonna say it's the real official suit, because, or maybe it's after a fight with Spider-Man and it falls off or something. But yeah, there's a pretty good shot of the Goblin. That's a really cool shot with Spidey at the Oscorp Tower, and we get to see Electro's powers right there. Here we have some dialogue between Peter and Gwen. Peter saying he's late because he had a traffic jam, and that's really going to take place in the first part of the movie when Spidey and Alexei fight before he becomes Rhino, and he takes this truck and drives through the center of New York, just causing complete mayhem. So that'll most likely take place in that part of the movie, and this dialogue between Peter and Gwen will happen early, right after that chase scene. And this is really cool. I like the slow-mo. Alright, here is Dane DeHaan. Is Harry Osborn. Now this looks to be taking place in the Osborn mansion. And it says in the story dialogue that Peter and Harry were childhood friends, but they got split up when Harry had to go to private school. So I think this is like them meeting for the first time in a long time, and maybe Harry called him up because there's something very interesting he has to tell him that I'll explain to you guys in the next part. Alright, so Harry tells him he's gonna want to see this, and he basically tells them that Oscorp has been spying on him for quite a long time. They know he's Spider-Man, Harry knows he's Spider-Man, and this is going to play a huge part since all the baddies tend to come from Oscorp, and they're all out to get Spider-Man. So Peter asks why, and Harry says, well, isn't that the question of the day? So obviously I think he'll explain in the movie at that point, and he'll say exactly what, he'll really answer that question. But let's move on. Now, this right here is going to be the truck chase scene with Alexei I was talking about. This is probably going to happen early in the movie before Alexei becomes Rhino. and Spidey has to chase down him in his truck, who's on a complete rampage, stealing things from Oscorp. So yeah, that's about it there. There's some dialogue between Peter and Aunt May, and Aunt May says to Peter to remind him when she said that secrets have a cost, and that the truth also has a cost. And here is an abandoned subway, and the subway opens up to reveal a train, and in it there's a laptop where Peter finds his dad, Richard Parker, talking. And basically what he says here is that he's found out what Oscorp is planning to use his research for, and how it's his duty to stop it. So I think that's why eventually the Gentleman, you can look at 7 Webhead's channel for that, I'll have it in the description. But anyway, the Gentleman will end up eventually setting up to kill them because he doesn't want him to foil Oscorp's plans. So let's move on here. This is a really important scene. Here we have the Gentleman right here, the man in the shadows from the first movie. This is thought to be the Gentleman, and we're pretty much sure it's the Gentleman. But right here we have Doc Ock's tentacles and Vulture's wings. Now this is crazy, and I want you to pay attention to the floor patterns right under them, right here, and that'll play a big part in the scene coming up right here. Now there's been a lot of talk about the Sinister Six and future Amazing Spider-Man films, and here we have a big number 6. There's another door, so there's 7, but here is the big number 6, and the floor pattern is exactly the same as it was leading into those glass panels where they had Doc Ock's tentacles and Vulture's wings. So I think all these will have the tools needed to create these villains, so the Sinister Six can eventually come together and destroy Spider-Man. But anyway, here are the electric eels that are going to end up turning Electro into Electro, much like in the Spectacular Spider-Man series. And you'll see him coming out of the water right here after he gets his powers. Then we see Harry on his glider. Now, Harry is going to be the Green Goblin in this movie. That's 99.999% sure. No, it's 100% sure, because Harry is the Green Goblin. And here we have Felicity Jones, who was rumored to be Black Cat. She's obviously not Black Cat in this scene. She said she was the Goblin's girlfriend, so she's probably Harry's girlfriend. And here you can see he's in Oscorp, and he's on his glider right there. So right here we have Chris Cooper, Norman Osborn, and Harry asks him, what about Peter? What will happen to Peter? And Norman replies, not everyone has a happy ending. And here we have Rhino again, and Spidey just coming in with this sewer cap, throwing it at him in slow motion. That looks really sweet. And right there was the plane scene where Peter's parents are most likely gonna die. So that's very important, obviously. But the biggest, most important part is coming up right here. Well, not this part, but this is Times Square when Spidey and Electro have their first fight after Electro gains his powers. But coming up right here is really huge. Okay, here he is. It's the Green Goblin right there. Spidey's coming in, and this is him right here, the Green Goblin, Dane DeHaan, with his hair all slicked back. Looks kind of funky. But anyway, here comes Spider-Man. He's gonna kick him, and yeah, this takes place in the clock tower, which I'll get into in a minute. And that's the plane crash scene. It's gonna be a flashback where it shows Peter's parents dying. But anyway, the part I want to get to big is right here. Alright, here we just saw Gwen in her death uniform. And right here we have Spidey drop down and shoot a web. And I'm going to bring up a picture of the death of Gwen Stacy. Right here you can see it's the exact same thing right there. I think Gwen Stacy will die in the clock tower at the hands of the Green Goblin. So right there. And now I'll just let you guys watch this part because this is amazing. Alright, thanks for watching my channel, my trailer breakdown. I have other Spider-Man videos, Spider-Man Top 5 Fridays. Be sure to check them out if you're Spidey fans, and subscribe for more. Leave a like. Thanks, guys. I'm out.